The intro. You're muted. You're muted. It says you're muted on StreamYard. What happened?
Hello.
There you go. But you can't hear me? Let's check the audio. Well, I'm just gonna bring everybody in.
You need to take me off because I don't know what anyone's saying.
Can everybody else hear me? Yes. Okay. So I got a thumbs up from Dre. I don't know about David, but we were supposed to roll the intro, and for some reason that wasn't working. So
I heard the intro, the music.
did you? Yeah. You did?
I heard it. Yeah, I heard the intro.
What the heck is going on? I'm so flustered. Well, Monica's here. So hi. Thank you. Thank you for being part of the show. And yes, William, the live feed is on me. So not entirely sure what's going on right now, but we're having some technical difficulties, and I haven't figured out what the problem is. But apparently the intro rolled, and we have two guests. We have Andre Johnson, who's the resident Texas fanatic, and we've also got David, who is going to be talking with us from OU. Now, my dad is actually supposed to give this intro, but he's not able to hear us. So, what we have on the docket today, we're supposed to be talking about which one of your two teams acclimates the fastest to the SEC, and if their recruiting strategy changes. Then we're going to talk about the Bama-Texas game that is coming up, of course, at the same time that I'm not going to be able to watch it because I'm going to be coaching my own football game once again for the second year. And apparently OU has his own official beer, which I did not realize. And who hurts more, loses more on the loss of the Bedlam series between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. So I suppose, Dre, since we're the only two that can hear each other right now, it's just gonna be us for a second. And
we'll make it work.
I want to get your thoughts just on the. Let's talk about realignment as a whole, because this whole thing started. As much as the Pac-12 has been getting its recognition recently because it has completely collapsed. The OU and Texas move actually happened first. This was something that was seemingly in the making for a little while. But I want to go back even further to maybe 2011-ish?
2010, when
2010,
Texas and OU, when they were flirting with the Pac-12 about relocating from the Big 12. Correct.
Yes. So I want to get into that and kind of can you kind of walk me through how close we got to the Pac-12 actually having OU and Texas, and then kind of what happened to have it fall apart?
Ooh, great question. So as far as I can remember, it's been a while since I've actually lived in that space, right, in 2010. But I do remember heavily that in 2010, Texas, OU, I believe it was Oklahoma State potentially, and I want to say Texas Tech might have been the fourth team because they're looking to go from the Pac-12 to the Pac-16. And so there was going to be 16 teams in the that would have been the new Pac-12 back in 2010. And I think part of that has to do with the current revenue distribution in the Big 12 obviously was uneven, which meant that Texas and OU was carrying a lion's share of that revenue distribution, right? And so that's one of the reasons why they were looking. Well, it wasn't the reason why they're looking to leave. It was part of the frustration within the Big 12. But Texas and OU were carrying the banter, right? And so they wanted more money, and so they were looking to greener pastures, which at the time in 2010 was the Pac-12. Um, to my knowledge, I heard we were very, very close. I just don't know what was the reason why it did not happen. I was actually looking forward to it happening because of the fact that I live here in Washington State now. So I would love for Texas and Oklahoma to have came to Washington State or Oregon, but it didn't happen. And then so here we are, 2023, and the Pac-12 has collapsed pretty much, and Texas and OU is heading to the SEC.
Okay. And then I want to also get your thoughts on why do you think that the Big 12 was able to sustain losing Texas A&M and Missouri first?
Yep.
Oh no, I shouldn't say first because Nebraska and Colorado left.
Then. Correct.
Then the loss of Texas A&M and Missouri. Then we had the loss of now you guys of Oklahoma and Texas, and the Big 12 is still around. They made acquisitions between Cincy, BYU, UCF, Houston, and the Pac-12. Although they lost them, 8 teams en masse,
right,
all at one time. Why do you think the Big 12 was able to kind of stick together in this and make some kind of moves to keep it together, where it seems like the Pac-12 might end up just dissolving?
Great questions. I'll be brief so I can let David speak as well. But so I was actually surprised too as well when we lost. I wasn't so surprised when we lost Nebraska and Colorado. I still felt we had enough to sustain ourselves. But when we lost A&M and Missouri to the SEC, started having a little bit of concern because okay, we're a little fragile right now, right? People aren't happy with Texas. People aren't happy with OU. We lost now 3 or 4 teams, 4 teams to various conferences. So very fragile, right? But for some reason, I think Texas and OU had some concessions with the conference, and we survived, right? Up until this point. Now, what I do know is the reason why they were able to sustain themselves today was when the SEC went to ESPN and they solidified their TV grant rights deal, and then CBS and Fox Sports solidified their TV rights deal with the Big Ten, right? You had those 2 large conferences capturing a large portion of the money. So what the Big 12 did with their new commissioner, he knew that there was only so much funds available left to give to these conferences. So he jumped the Pac-12 and started those conversations almost a year before the Big 12 granted rights were set to expire. Because as you know, under the current climate, right, with the economy, ESPN was laying off people. So there was only so much money really available left for these 3rd and 4th conferences to get paid. So with I can't remember the guy's name. I think his name is Brett. Don't forgive me. I apologize. But anyways, he jumped the Pac-12 and was able to secure the Big 12 stability, which gave them the power to now and the leverage to now poach at other teams.
All right. Well, so with all that being said,
that's a lot, but that's where we're at.
So with all that background and context, how do you guys feel about moving conferences and now joining the Southeastern Conference?
From a Texas fan, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for one, joining obviously the premier conference in college football. 2, the various road trips that are now going to be week in and week out, even more than what they already are currently today, right? With Texas going to new cities, new college towns, and vice versa. So I think it's a great move. I'm very excited. I believe OU probably feels the same way, but we can rest assured there'll be some intense battles and some new rivalries for me.
And So I know in the public record, you guys were accepted by unanimous vote, 14 to none. I don't believe that's true. I believe it was 13 to 1, but to
I do too. I do too.
yes, I believe there was a particular team that wears maroon, I guess. Is that their official color? That was not happy about this move, and I understand why. I mean, the whole reason they're here is kind of you guys to begin with. So, what does this mean for this rivalry? I feel like this rivalry, as heated as it was before, I feel like with all the things that have transpired, it is when it's going to be renewed. It's going to be renewed with a vigor that we haven't seen in a long time. I feel like it will be electric. Both stadiums are going to be loud. It's going to be up there with one of the top rivalries in the country, and I think it might even be borderline dangerous as a hostile environment as these two teams get together after not playing for at least a decade, right?
Yeah, almost 13 years, I think, give or take. I think, yeah, almost a decade. Yeah, absolutely, somewhere around there.
So how do you see this going? Can this be? Is this going to be a civil? Is this going to be a civil reconvene or is this going to be something that's going to be a bloodbath for the first couple of years?
You know, I think it's going to be probably more intense the first couple of years with Texas going to the SEC initially, but I think it will settle down to be the rivalry that it always was. Right? It was just really about A&M being our annoying little brother, because our real rival is, our hated rival is Oklahoma. Like that's the game that we just hate. We can't stand typically everything about each other's program. Like we hate the OU team in that rivalry, right? That's the rivalry. A&M's just the other rivalry that has 100-something years of playing and right, but it's not as hated as the OU rivalry. But what I will say to you, JT, is that it's going to be intense the first few years due to the fact that A&M doesn't want Texas in the SEC. They want it to be the only school from the state of Texas in the SEC, right? That was their recruiting pitch. Hey, we're the only team from the state of Texas in the SEC. Your mom, your dad, your cousins, they can come to you, College Station, watch you play against Bama, Georgia. Well, they haven't played Georgia, which is crazy because they've been in the league for 13 years.
Don't get me started on.
So that was their pitch. And so now that, we're here, we're now there. And so that shine that they once had is going to go away again because now we're back we're in the conference.
So let me make sure I hit the questions that I was sent here. Which of your two teams do you think acclimates the quickest to you?
Ooh, great questions.
Now, I have what I think my answer is, but I want to hear what your answer and your reasoning is.
It's gonna be a homer.
Look, see there. I already knew you being quiet.
I'm just sitting in the back listening, trying to see what kind of lie he gonna tell, so I can put it on.
I'm gonna tell my opinion. I don't know if there's a lot of truth to it, but just I'm gonna say I think Texas will acclimate quicker due to the level of recruiting that we've had under Sark over the past 3 years. Right, Texas has always recruited well. The one thing that we have failed at recruiting, and I apologize, I'm kind of leaning into the other question, but we have not done well in the trenches. The SEC is a trench league, right? It's your front seven, and that's what makes the SEC so special, because of the fact that their front seven is so fast and so lateral, right? So they can get to the ball from sideline to sideline, north and south. But I think Sark and everybody's recruiting what they call them big humans, right? So we're recruiting those 300+ pound D line O linemen that we never could get, and then we're now also in the conversations when 5-star and high 4-star linemen are, giving us our top 5 teams, we're in that conversation now. Before, you would think Texas would always be there, but we haven't been there. Like, we've always missed out on key players in the trenches, and we've developed poor over the past decade. Look, let's be honest, we've developed very, very poor across the board.
Yeah. Well,
what's your thoughts?
I originally was thinking the other way, although you did bring up a good point about how well Texas has been recruiting over the last couple of years. That is absolutely true. I think they've been in the top 5. I know they've been in the top 5 once. I think they were in the top 5 last year.
Yep. And this year I think we're around between 10 and 15. We're somewhere there right now, but we have
which is not bad. Yeah. But as you said, the flip side of that was what you were saying about the lack of development in the trenches. It's been a very long time since you've had an offensive lineman even drafted, not just like first round, just picked,
just drafted. Correct.
Which is a little bit, huh?
So, but why do you guys think Oklahoma? I'm agreeing with him. Okay, let me start with that. But what do you think the difference is between Texas and Oklahoma when it comes to that recruiting piece? They both know they're getting ready to leave. Whose fault is it that you don't have linemen, or why isn't Oklahoma closer, to being able to match
That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't have the answer for that, because I'm probably one of the very few fans that really follow my rival or other people's recruiting, right? I really just pay attention to what we're doing, and I see on social media, like, if Oklahoma picked up this player or Alabama picked up this player, yeah, I do see that, but I don't really dig deep and see who they have. But when you listen to other recruiting agencies talk, they talk about how they've been missing on certain players, but it's still early. But I know Sark, he won't say it, but they've been recruiting for 2024. This for the past few years, they're recruiting big men in the trenches. Got to have strong QB play, and we're recruiting skill players. So I think we'll be ready. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I don't think we're going to go in there and take over the league. Absolutely not. But I think we're going to be really, really competitive.
Okay, so I'm going to pose this question to both of you. And JT can go first.
Yep.
Texas is an SEC champion by 2027 if they do what?
If Alabama, Georgia, LSU decide to fold their
they all move to Pac-12.
Hey, who has administrative rights to this show? I need to delete that.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
That was good.
I don't.
Well, hold on before you answer, because you had a cup that looked like whiskey or bourbon in it. What's in there?
I am drinking Weller's Antique 107. That's
all
for
right.
Sure.
All right.
So that's my go-to lately. So.
Okay.
So I don't know. 27, man. That's 3 years from next year. No, I'm gonna say it might be closer to somewhere between 4 to 7 years. I'm just being honest with you. This is real. Can it happen sooner? Absolutely, but it's really hard. You talk about Alabama,
What year is Quinn Ewers?
This is the second year.
Yeah, but I think he's 3 years already removed from high school, so I think he's gonna be gone after this year. If he has a pretty solid year, he'll be gone.
So he's gone. He's got 1 year. I don't think they're gonna win it the first year they're in there. No, he's gone, and then you got to break in Arch Manning.
Correct. Everybody's saying Arch Manning's supposed to be the guy. We do have I think he was a 4-star recruit, Malik Murphy out of California. He hasn't played a lot since COVID because we had the COVID season, so they had a very short football season. I think his senior year, and then he's been hurt since he's been at UT. So, but he had a great spring game. I actually think that school that wears I don't even know what color you guys are, George. Are you guys red and white or crimson? Which color?
Crimson, man. Crimson.
Yeah,
It's in
crimson.
the name, dude.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. I actually think Alabama was one of those schools that tried to poach Malik Murphy after the spring game because he's very, very talented, but he just doesn't. He hasn't played a lot. But I think Arch will win the starting job, and he'll probably roll out next year. But I don't think it will be easy.
First of all, poaching is illegal, and that's not anything that we do. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Sir, I don't call my friends liars, but you're lying.
Well, I guess we're our friends then. Yeah, we just share cigars and good bourbon. That's it.
No,
we're friends.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. What's up?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Tessie popping in, and Monica. A lot of family in the house tonight. We appreciate y'all and your patronage. Mr. Isaacs as well. If he's back here looking, those are the helmets that he put together for us. So we thank you very much. So okay, so I guess you guys kind of answered both pieces of, if you, I don't know, maybe I should say the same thing for. We don't have David to be able to try to say the same thing for Oklahoma, but
yeah.
If they're further, so if you're saying that maybe Texas is 4 to 7 years away, how much farther is OU? I mean, they got last time they played Bama, they got smacked. I mean, we smacked them like bitch slapped them.
Ooh, I think. How am I gonna say this? I think a country that we've never heard of or don't hear very often has a greater chance of landing on the moon than Oklahoma being successful early on in the SEC.
Wow.
Say that again now.
I said, I think a small country that we've never heard of has a greater chance of landing on the moon than Oklahoma has being successful within 3 years in the SEC.
Now, what does successful mean?
Got to win. You know what I mean? Got to win. And being successful doesn't mean necessarily winning an SEC championship, right? Because we all want to win championships, but we got to put reality to the situation. It's a tough league, but they got to win 9 games. You got to win 10 games a year, which we haven't done in a long time consistently. Mac Brown had I think a streak of 13 seasons in a row of 10 win seasons, but the past decade it's been abysmal for us too. So, you know what I mean? So we got to win.
I'm not sure it's going to be consistent like that anyway. Just looking at the way that things are lined up with the schedules. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it, Dre. How many people are really going to lose 3 games? Realistically, if you're in the SEC,
there's got to be a lot.
There has to be. Yeah. Well, look at it. If you look at A&M's schedule, or not schedule, if you look at their historical record in the SEC, they average 4-4. If you go back and look at their history in the SEC, they're 4-4. That's not going to cut it, right? Because their championship is beating Alabama once a year if they can do that, right? But they average 4-4 wins. They're 4-4 every year.
Yeah, but 12-10 playoff is going to make a difference. There's probably going to be some 2 or 3 lost teams.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that then. Because you can call that a successful year, not because now you can reframe what success means.
Right.
If you can play in the SEC and be one of the teams that make it out into the playoffs, I would consider that a successful year. Because just like in the NFL, I say this all the time, is like just make it into the playoffs and then we'll just see what happens. Because anything can happen once you're in the dance. That's not really how it works in college, but when the more teams you put in, the more chances you have for something stupid happening. So with that being said, let's reframe this question that I have on the bottom of the screen here. Can Texas make the playoffs out of the SEC by 2027?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think you're going to have with a 12-team playoff, you're going to have probably a lot of 9-3 win teams. You know what I mean? Because once you start getting down past the 5th and 6th ranked teams, teams are like 10-2, they're 9-3. You know what I mean? You start to see that record dwindle a little bit, but 9-3 isn't bad. You know what I mean? 9-3 isn't bad at all, and you'll probably see that even more with the new SEC scheduling. It's gonna be tough, that's why I'm very humble and not. I talk a lot of trash to your dad. Look, GT knows I talk a lot of trash to him.
No.
Yeah, we talk a lot of trash, but I'm also a realist, right? Texas is a brand that people love to hate. You know what I mean? They're like the Yankees of college football. You know what I mean? They just
Hold
don't like
on,
them.
hold on. You're going too far now. You're going too far now. This Yankees a college football deal. That's
Well, let me finish. Let me finish.
I don't know.
Look,
These days, y'all might be more like the Astros of.
good point. Good point. I'll take that. But from a brand perspective,
Peters,
people love to hate. People love to hate Texas, right? And so it's going to be week in and week out. It's going to be a hostile environment at every single road game for Texas. It's going to be. You know what I mean? People, even though we haven't even proven ourselves in the SEC, it's going to be a benchmark game for people because they want to be able to beat Texas. Because of the brand. People want to beat Bama because the brand, and you guys have been successful for the past God knows how long, but since Saban's been there, you guys have been phenomenal, right?
True.
So and so people mark your game because of who you guys are. Now Georgia is trying to take that mantle from you guys. Well, they've won the past 2 years in a row. They're going for a three-peat. I don't know. I don't know if they'll. I think they're going to get in the playoffs because their schedule is a recipe for success.
It's soft as cushions, man.
Yeah.
Now, in their defense, they were made to cancel their biggest game.
The OU game was.
Yeah, that OU game that I guess it's kind of you guys' fault that they had to cancel that game in the first place, but that's fine.
Yeah, but even if they play that Oklahoma game, the rest of the schedule it lines up perfect for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a lot of that. I think there's a lot of how teams get ranked and how the committee ranks people on why the SEC has been refusing to go to a 9-game conference schedule. I think that's a giant part of that.
I would love it.
I know. I mean, I think they should go to a 9-game schedule or even a 10-game schedule. But until we get over the mindset from the committee and the public at large of your record is what you say, your record is what it says you are, then there's no reason for the SEC to play more SEC games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you just put yourself at risk, right? Because if you take another L in your record, then you run the risk of not making the 12 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, because TCU had a great run, but if TCU would have dropped the game, it would have been over, and they would have never gotten a shot.
Look,
I think there's a shift. I think there's a shift in that a little bit, only because of the money factor that's starting to come into all this that has to be done with paying players, NILs. It is a whole different game, So I agree with you guys that it's the record is indicative to maybe you getting in, but I just think that paradigm is going to shift a little bit because these folks are trying to figure out how to make money now. And you're going to have to be paying these dudes. It's just going to increase on how much money that's going to have to be raised to pay.
Yeah, and I think parity is going to become even closer with NIL, right? Because now people are leaving teams after a year, right? They're a 4 or 5 star recruit. They go to Texas or they go to Alabama. They're not playing, and they jump ship. You know what I mean? Or they get lured by NIL money.
Well, they only get to do that one time now. It's back to being one time.
One time. That's right. So, yeah, I think you're right, GT. I think there'll be some loveliness to the leagues and to the teams. And you're still gonna have some top heavy teams. Look, you're gonna have the Georgias of the world, the Texas of the world. Tennessee's coming on strong now. A&M, as average as their conference schedule has been, they still continue to recruit well. You know what I mean? They just can't get rid of Jimbo. They're year 5, and what did they go last year? 5-7 last year,
dude.
They can get rid of them. They got enough money. They want to get rid of them. They can pay them on out of there.
Look, they do have a lot of money, that's for sure. But I don't think they want to pay $60+ million to get rid of them when they just paid $50+ million to Kevin Sullivan. They gave them essentially the same record that they have right now over the same time span.
Luke, go 5-7, 1-2 more years.
Yeah,
see if they
right.
come over and they're like, "Hey, man, screw that. Can I write this off somehow?"
I'll tell you, they'll probably be really upset if they go 5-7 again, or if they go, 6-6 in the first year that Oklahoma and Texas goes into the SEC. I think Jimbo might be in trouble because A&M cannot let those two new Big 12 teams be more successful right away than A&M.
Look, I already know how this is gonna go. This is exactly how it's gonna go. Jimbo has what, like 4 years left on his deal.
Yep.
He's gonna go 8-4, 9-3 this year.
Yep.
They're gonna look like they're gonna make the playoffs, and they're gonna be just short. And then they're gonna be like, "Hey, once this 12-team playoff comes in, we're in. We got a shot. We can make it." Then OU and Texas are gonna come in, and Texas A&M is gonna be butt cheeks, but they're gonna beat Texas A&M, and they're gonna beat OU, and it's gonna be stupid. And then all of a sudden, Jimbo is he's gonna spare himself from being fired, even though they have a terrible record. But he beat the two teams that he was supposed to beat. They're gonna have hope again. They're not. I don't even know if they're gonna make a bowl game, but they're gonna upset somebody. Have hope, and then Jimbo's gonna get another year in which he'll be fine because he sold them on hope, because he's gonna beat two teams that he shouldn't have beat, just like last year when they had no business beating LSU because they were not nearly as good as LSU was.
Correct.
But something dumb happened, and he's still here. Jimbo is going to make it through his contract by limping and probably having to be in a wheelchair through the end, but he's going to make it.
So, JT, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, JT. No, I was just going to say, JT, so you're telling me that he's going to make it all the way to year 9? You think he'll make it that far?
He'll make it to year 9, but he's going to have like no teeth left, broken leg, and hobbling all the way through just because they're going to find a way where like all hope is lost. And we're going to be talking about he's out of here at the end of the year. He's out of here. And then whoever is supposed to be going on to play the SEC championship, they're going to beat that team. And they're going to be like, oh, there's a shot. And then they're like, well, we can fire him for $60 million and pay off his, or, well, he just beat this team and they're really good. So I don't know. Let's just one more year. Let's see what happens. And he's just gonna flip flop. It's just like Kevin Sumlin, same thing. And then they beat Alabama, and they're like, give him another year. This dude's great. And then
I think Texas A&M is going to have sanctions within 2 years.
Ooh.
They're going to have calls for him to be gone because they've already had to disband their
foundation.
Yeah, the foundation deal. They had to shut that down because they weren't following the rules already. They're going to get over ambitious because of all the reasons that you guys said. They're going to be trying to go back and do things they're not supposed to do to try to compete, and they're going to get caught because there are people already watching. They're already telling them, all right, you got to shut this thing down, which is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You got to shut your foundation down. And I think another year or two of that, we're going to hear about them being in trouble, and he's going to walk away. That's my bold prediction. That's a bold prediction.
Okay.
I like that.
I would hop on that bandwagon until I saw what they did to Tennessee, and I'm like, yeah, they ain't shit happening.
New schools, man. There's some haters because them Texas folks gonna jump right in on it. They're gonna pay somebody stupid.
Texas ain't gonna let that happen. They're gonna get the hammer.
Yeah, Alabama burned down some trees in Auburn. Texas go ahead and get that coach up out of there, bro.
Hey, we need if they do, I don't want to go on a rabbit trail, but if they get rid of Jimbo, I don't know. Who do you guys think will be in line for the next coach at A&M? I say the person to watch out would be um, Jeff Traylor at UTSA, which would be very dangerous because he knows East Texas. But or do you think they go big name or do they go? His name is Joey McGuire, the guy from Texas Tech.
As long as that AD is still there, I mean, you got to remember the AD that was there is the guy who, I want to say he was, or maybe he's not there anymore. Maybe he's at LSU.
LSU, is that Bjork? I think his name was. Is that the guy?
Yeah,
that
because
LSU?
I think he might have been the dude that signed Jimbo to a 10-year deal for $100 million, and then he went to LSU and got Brian Kelly to come in for $100 million. Okay, so never mind. I won't. I rescind my head shake because now I don't know who the AD was. But if that AD was still there, there's no way that they'd actually make like a sensible up and coming hire. He would just go for whoever he can throw a whole bunch of money at. So I don't know. Maybe they would. I still think they would go. They would try to find someone on the like last year's Jim Leonard kind of trajectory.
Gotcha.
They're going
I don't know if
young
they'd
or
go
they're
out of
going
group of
old?
5. I think they'd go with like a OC or DC from a Power 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I think the proven coaches in college football are dwindling, right? The Knight Brown era has dwindled, and now Urban Meyer is gone. Now you got Saban, who's on his last few. I don't know how many years he's got left. You got Brian Kelly. He probably doesn't have that much more longer left to coach. You know what I mean? So they're going to probably. I agree, JT. They'll probably go with either a new coach or an OC or DC. I agree. I agree with that.
I don't know, fellas. I just the need to win right now is not a whole lot. We're gonna give them a year or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So what? You think they're gonna go like get Kevin Steele or somebody? Well,
Right.
actually,
Who's
they
they
might
gonna
go
get?
get Kevin Steele.
I think they could steal somebody out of the pros.
Yeah.
Oh, you think they go to the pros and pull somebody?
I think you could steal somebody from the pros that maybe has had some college experience. It's a sell to kids. Hey, they've been there. We can help get you to the league.
What do you think it's gonna be like? Some kind of Herm Edwards kind of hire? I bet the first person they called was Urban Meyer.
I do too.
That's bad though.
Hey, but if you're trying to win, man, they're gonna do whatever it takes to stay up with Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, whoever else. They cannot fall in the cellar.
JT hit it on the head. You gotta knock somebody off out of one of the teams that's already winning. You gotta find a college team. You gotta go back to Alabama. You guys took Sark. Got Kirby Smart. I mean, you got to get somebody out of a tree that's winning. And maybe somebody from Georgia or somewhere else.
I know this.
Just the timeline is going to work out to where A&M's new head coach is going to be Ryan Day, because he's going to get fired from Ohio State. He's going to lose to Michigan. They're going to fire him, and they're going to go pick him up.
Because my original thought was going to be Harbaugh. Actually, I was like, they got to go steal him. But if you're right, if Ryan Day loses again to Michigan,
yeah. All right, so let me ask you this question. You get this is your show. I know you guys ask all the questions, but let me turn the tables real quick. How do you think Texas will do year one with the schedule? Do you guys have a schedule?
Let me pull it up. Let me look up.
Can you show it?
Yeah. Give me a second. 2024 SEC football schedule.
I think they have it. They don't have the dates. The dates haven't been finalized, so we don't know when.
I know y'all had a hard one. I remember when we were texting about it. Like, that's going to be a tough one. Oh yeah. Well, at least you did right and started out with Colorado State.
Nice.
Can you guys see this or no?
USA, ULM,
and Michigan. We go to
Man,
Michigan.
but the first 4 games.
So you can see this?
I'm
Yep,
sorry.
I
I
can
was
see it.
looking at
Okay.
the-
Your
All
dad's too busy talking trash to me.
Oh
All
yeah.
right,
'cause
so
this
where
doesn't
am I
have-
looking? I'm
this
looking
doesn't have
at
the
Texas. Where's
non-conference
Texas? Okay.
games.
Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Oklahoma, A&M, Vanderbilt.
Okay, I'm sorry, but you need to in context. Yes, we can talk about that, but I was looking at the very first 4 games before these.
Oh,
Or
That's
just
Oh,
the
what
non-conference games. He wants the whole
the
schedule. of the
non-conference
non-conference.
games were like.
okay.
I don't know
hold
what
on.
Alabama was, but that was like there'll be.
You want this?
Yes, he wants that.
I like your other thing. I'm just saying I didn't want to put that, or didn't want people not to think that they got ULM, UTSA, and Colorado State.
Bro, what is this?
You see what
First
I'm
of all,
saying? I'm saying-
Hey, look, hold up. Before you guys jump on me about a non-conference schedule, the SEC is the king of scheduling FCS opponents.
Hold up.
The king.
Hold on. Time out.
So-
Because I have a problem with this. I have a problem with this because this is the narrative that the whole country wants to say is like, oh, they schedule an FCS opponent, and it's not like that y'all don't do. We just do it in week 9. Y'all do it in week 1. I don't see what the difference is.
FCS and FBS are big difference in level of opponents, right? So
Is it?
I'm not
though?
saying not okay. It's not a big difference. Okay, let me take that back. I take that back. Let's go ahead and redact that.
Go back to the other graphic though while we're doing this. No,
No, this is good. This is good because it gives everybody context, right? So we have Colorado State. Obviously, that's not a tough game. It's a
win.
It's a win. Michigan's going to be tough because it's going to be on the road, but it's a tough game. Yeah,
That's
at
at
Michigan.
Thursday? Oh, what does that say?
It's a
September
Saturday.
7th. It's a Saturday. It should be a Saturday. It'll be a tough game, but we'll see. I don't know what Michigan has coming or going, but it's a tough game.
They should be fine.
Yep. You should be fine being as far as Michigan, you mean? Being fine?
Yeah. Michigan,
Yeah.
Michigan should be a good team.
Yep. I think it's going to be a tough matchup. It's a toss-up game. UTSA, I think, will win that game. ULM will. Now, what we don't know is what we do know is Oklahoma will still be in the October timeframe because we only play during the state fair, so that game won't change. Excuse me. I just don't know the fluidity of when we play Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, and all those guys. You know what I mean? And how that stacks up. Does that make sense? Because it all matters when you play teams. Week 4, week 6, whatever the case may be. But Arkansas is going to be a tough game. I'm not sure if Arkansas is going to be that good.
Arkansas is not going to be a tough game.
Yeah, that stadium though, man. Did you see it 2 years ago? It was bananas when we went there. And
Stop.
see,
Stop. I'm trying to say anything with them. Stop. No.
Okay, so you think we'll win Arkansas? We'll beat Arkansas, correct?
I do.
Okay. What about Florida?
You probably should beat Florida. Unless Florida shows me like that they're actually capital G good this year, I think they're not going to be very good the following.
Okay. So we got Florida, and we got Georgia at home. Georgia will be there.
We lose.
We lose. Okay. All right. JT, why GT's giving us his prediction? Can you keep track of our record? Of the record?
Oh yes. So right now you've lost for sure one game.
Okay.
And that's the Georgia game. All right. Kentucky.
You should beat Kentucky.
That's a win.
All right. Mississippi State.
You should beat Mississippi State.
A&M. First game of the year.
I'm going to call this one, like I said, only because I'm not saying that I think that A&M is going to be a better team, but I think this is the game that A&M is going to be like 3-8 or whatever. And this is like the only game they're going to show up for. And they win this one because it's at home.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I think we'll win. But I agree with you. It's going to be very, very hostile. Even if they're having a bad year, they'll be up for that game, right? It's kind of like, I don't want to jump leagues, but it's kind of like when the Cowboys play the Redskins, right? The Redskins can be terrible, but they always get up for the Cowboy game, right? They always play out of their mind usually for the Cowboy game.
I'm rolling with JT on this one. You guys lose.
All right.
A&M only because it's at A&M.
Okay, all right, I take that. And what about the last game of the year? I didn't see it. Where'd it go?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's flipping around.
Right.
He's forgetting that we
All
can
right.
see
Yeah,
everything.
right.
All right. What about Vanderbilt? Okay, Vanderbilt.
Oh, no.
Oh,
You lose to
Vanderbilt. Let me
everybody
think
needs to be
about that.
That's a toss-up game. It's a toss-up.
Yeah. Maybe not even gonna be no tickets available. Jeez, that's what
All
it
right.
is. So I got 2 losses. I got 2 in a possible, like I'm playing spades. 2 in a possible meaning A&M.
No, you're sandbagging.
Well, I got
Wait,
A&M.
hold on. Hold on. Time out.
Hmm.
Is this not strange that you only have 3 actual road games?
Well, they count
At Michigan, at Arkansas. Oh, the OU game is neutral.
Yeah, but that's not a true road game.
So we have, so I think they count that year. I think we'll be the road team. So you're right. We have 3 road games and a neutral game. You're right.
Right,
So
that's 4.
2025, y'all better have
looking at
like
4,
a
ain't it?
whole bunch of.
Wait, ain't that 4 though? What do you have? 4 in a neutral?
No,
No, it's
3
3 in a neutral. They actually have to play at Michigan, at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess.
So we have 4 road games in the neutral, but if you're talking about SEC only, we have 3 road games in the neutral.
I'm just looking at this stretch right here, where it's like Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State. This is 4 straight weeks at home, which is kind of nice. Like if you're gonna play these teams,
Gauntlet.
having them all at home, all back to back. I'm assuming there's probably a bye week in here somewhere.
Got to be.
But that's not bad.
No. I agree.
Okay, so flip over to the OU. I think I saw it pull it up. Just
there you go.
Temple, Houston, Tulane. Good Lord.
They will lose one of these 2 games.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They
all
might
at home,
legitimately
too.
lose to Tulane. Look, don't sleep on Tulane now.
Tulane had they got a nice little squad.
Yeah, Tulane
Look
had that
at
bro.
Tulane this last year.
Tulane had that 1 year, bro.
All right, GT, give us Oklahoma's schedule. Give us your win-loss prediction. I want to hear what you got to say.
Let me go back.
Let's see. When because they're at home. I know you may be thinking of Houston. I don't know. Or I know y'all said Tulane, but I ain't falling for the hype on the green wave. It's going to be back to reality.
So you're saying 3-0 at the gate?
No, 2-1 at best is what I got.
I got 3-0. He got 2-1. I already said that you guys were going to beat Oklahoma.
All right. That's 3-1.
Ooh, It's time to get rough for them at Auburn, at LSU.
All right.
Tide. So okay, what I got here? I got 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 loss, 4 loss. And I'm saying, okay, let me tell you who I said. I'm saying they lose to Texas, they lose to Auburn, they lose to LSU, lose to Bama.
Beat Missouri.
Yes.
All right.
Tennessee and Ole Miss, man.
Look.
Yeah. What about South Carolina though?
I'm just gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb right now. 2024 Oklahoma does not make a bowl game.
Wow.
Hold on, does that say Maine Black Bears?
Yes, Maine.
It does. They took upon the SEC non-conference scheduling. They're like, yes, we're in the SEC. We're going to schedule Maine.
How much they get paid for that one?
I don't know, but Maine ain't very good.
No, I actually didn't even know Maine had a football team. So
actually, hold on. I gotta do the plug. Check out our website where I have ranked Maine somewhere in here. So let's find out where Maine was ranked this year.
Hey, I like the
They're
website.
the 65th team in
65th.
FBS.
Yeah, but
according to this, they are .708.
Prairie View is higher than them.
Huh?
Come on, man. I'm saying I'm just looking at the teams you got in front of them, and they got to play OU.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna
great.
get killed.
Yeah, I mean this is they are this number is saying they are 0.7 points worse than the average FCS team, so they're about average.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
means they should absolutely lose this game.
All
Yeah,
right.
by a lot. Kennesaw State. Where is that?
Kennesaw State,
Ew.
like
I'm just saying they were
where in the country?
like, yeah, where are they?
Is that Tennessee or Carolina? I don't know.
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
And they're ranked ahead of Maine. So
No. Hey, look at the team below Kennesaw State. Utah Tech. Dude, didn't even know that there was a Utah Tech.
man, come on, Albany.
Hey,
Yeah.
now Albany's been they've been okay. You know.
I'm just saying that you're below them,
Oh yeah. I mean,
Abilene Christian. Okay.
bruh. You can't beat Yale according to this thing or Mercer.
yeah. So according to my according to my rankings here, Maine would be basically a 9-point dog to Yale. Yale would be expected to beat them by 9.
Who is this person over here talking about? Vince Young was their favorite QB.
Our favorite QB?
Luke. Come on, Luke.
I can't say
This is Luke. This is who we had on the show last year. Or not last year, last week.
He's
I like
on
Luke.
the shoe.
Our Oregon
I
fan.
still need a size 13, Luke. I'm still waiting. I DM'd you my my address.
He finna give you them shoes, man.
Dre don't know what we're talking
John
about.
O says OU best case 5 losses. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I counted 7. So
wow. Okay, you guys are the directors of the show. If OU has 5 and 7 last year, I don't know what they're going to look like this year.
Well,
And
let's
if
look
they
at the
go with,
schedule.
all right, let's pull up 23.
They should be better. They gotta
They
be
should
better.
be 3-0. This
I
one
can't
will
see
be
it.
tough.
Who they playing?
Worst case scenario, 4-1 going into.
Flip the screen.
We can't see it.
Whoops. Here we go.
There we go.
Arkansas State, SMU, Tulsa. They might lose to Cincy.
Yeah,
That's what I said. Worst case scenario, 4-1.
All right. This year they're supposed to lose.
Longhorns. I say y'all beat them, then they're
They
off.
should
they're
lose
gonna
to Texas.
So that's 4-2.
They should beat
They'll be
UCF. They should beat
All right,
Kansas.
All right, 6-2.
They should beat Oklahoma State because Oklahoma State doesn't even have a quarterback no more.
Yep.
West
All right,
Virginia is a
7-2.
hot mess.
8-2. Yep.
They should. I think they should beat BYU. I don't think BYU's there yet.
BYU be hurt and tired by then.
They do. All right, 9-2.
And they I could see them dropping the game to TCU.
TCU.
So
all right, so you got a 9-3. It sounds like
9-3.
All right. Okay, so they go 5-7 in 20. What year were we in? 2022. They go 9-3 in 2023. If they have the year that you guys think they're going to have in 24, is Brett? What is his name? Venables. Yeah, is Brett Venables on the hot seat?
He out.
Gone?
He gone?
No.
Damn, 3 years he's gone.
No. Oklahoma don't operate like that.
They'll give him another year, probably.
Told you, man. You go into the SEC, bro.
Look, man. They don't.
You
they
just
don't
saying you
operate
get
like
a pass because you changed conference. That you do go 9 or something, but you go in. That's kind of I don't know.
No,
I think
Oklahoma don't
they
operate.
basically gave you.
That's
Hold
what
on.
Texas does. That's how Texas operates.
No, but I'm coming from the standpoint of they're giving you 3 years to recruit. I'm the athletic director. I've already told you we're getting ready to move. You got next year. Go ahead and do what you got to do. That first year in the SEC, it might be bumpy just because we ain't already there. But you should be planning for this. And so 3 years from now, you guys are business people. 3 years from now, we got to go reevaluate. because 3 to 5 years, I need to know what's happening. And in that third year, which you've already had 1 year under your belt of recruiting, you already knew you were going this past
To
year.
SEC. Yep.
So you got 4 years to get ready for this SEC move. That's why I think that, man, I hear it's our first year in, but you've had time to prepare. Like you said, you know you need linemen. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to play some better defense, whatever it is. I don't know.
So I'm with JT. I think he'll make it to at least year 4, and if he doesn't do well in year 4, I think he might be on the hot seat. Would you agree, JT? Year 4?
Yeah, because here's if I was Brett Venables,
But you're not counting this past year in the year 4. You're giving them this is year 1.
If I'm Brett Venables, I'm making that case that this year is year 1, because I would say, look, man, you fired Lincoln Riley and he took my whole damn team and moved it to California, and I had to start over. Like this team they might have been contending for Big 12 championships before I got here, but when I got here, this team shouldn't be competing for anything. That's why we went 6 and 7. Spencer Rattler was gone, Caleb Williams was gone, and I had a freshman who ended up getting hurt. Like you gotta give me a pass on this year. That first year in the SEC is a gauntlet for us, and then you can pull up Texas's schedule and be like, look at their first 4 games. If we played their schedule, we'd be 4-0 when we get to that point, but we're not. You got to give me 2 years in the SEC, and if it goes that second year in the SEC, if it's still going south, I think then he has a problem.
Okay,
so just real quick, GT, I hold your thought real quick. I just want to say something to you.
Mm-hmm.
He can make that argument, but to my knowledge, he actually didn't lose that many players. He lost some key players. I think they said Lincoln Riley, he lost 3 players that actually transferred from OU to USC. I think it was Caleb Williams, Mario Williams, the receiver, and then the Trail McCutcheon, who I think it was a DB. But they lost a lot of their incoming recruits that didn't go to USC, but they didn't actually lose a buttload of players from Oklahoma to USC. But they lost key people.
Counterpoint, that defense was already trash from when Caleb Williams was there in the first place. So not losing players on the defensive side of the ball is actually a problem.
Okay. All right. Touche. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Which is why, since Luke is back here in the chat, which is why I think USC still doesn't have a chance of actually winning the college football playoff, because Alex Grinch is still their defensive coordinator. Yeah. And until Lincoln Riley can prove to me that he can field a competent defense, I'm not buying it.
You know, Lincoln Riley reminds me of the old Texas Tech team with Mike Leach and Cliff Kingsbury, where they want to score a lot of points, but they can't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, they say we'll let you score 58, but we're gonna score 62.
Exactly.
All right, well, Dre, man, I really appreciate your time with this, and I know it's probably still sunlight out there where you live at. I don't know
where you live at.
I'm in Washington State. I moved out here many years ago, but I go back to Texas often because that's home. So
yeah, so you know I'll wait for my text afterwards to say what I need to say about him, because
he lives in Mountain West country now.
That's right. That's right. So
hey, but I know you got to go. We got to go, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the game. The Alabama Texas game.
We'll hit that. So,
I'm not going to be able to watch it again because my athletic director hates me. So,
but your athletic director is going to be at the game, so I'm going to see it. Okay.
What's your thoughts? I want to hear both of your thoughts on the game.
Hold on before I do that. So just to have everybody hooked. I do need to say this because I forgot about it. Just for the people listening. On Saturday, we're going to be here at the Lantern. So we always shoot the podcast from out here. Very thankful for that. They're putting some upgrades in, making the place really nice because we're going to be having some Alabama watch parties out here during the year. So make sure you're paying attention to Titan Texas at TitanTexas.com to know when the games are, where we're going to have the watch parties and all this kind of stuff. But this Saturday, we're actually going to have the Black Alumni Association out here this weekend, starting at 6 o'clock p.m. Out here. I've been challenged to a game of pool again for that day. I don't know why. I'm going to drive in just to beat John's butt one more time. And I'm going to support the Alumni Association. We're going to eat some cheese stick and some wings and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you do go to Titan Texas. I'm sure it's on the website somewhere where they can see it and get signed up for that. Come on out and support. If you're in the area, you're not doing anything for Saturday, come on out and help raise some money and support our students who need to go to the University of Alabama. And you know what? Maybe we could put a small little wager on the pool match that I win. He owes me and JT steaks, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
JT
he does owe us some steaks.
Yeah, both of us steaks because we both beat him on the same night. So it's not going to be any difference. But you know what? He's like
John.
the water boy. He keeps coming back and he keeps coming back and he's waiting for that big tackle. And he's just going to get mad and whatever. He's still a fan, all this stuff. So anyway, y'all
John,
come on
I'm
out.
hungry.
Right. So that makes me think of going into this Texas game. I think it's going to be the same. I think this is a revenge game. Regardless, I know we won the game last year, but I think this is a revenge game that Saban is looking at. He's had a lot of time to prepare. He's getting these guys right, and I think he's going to have these guys ready to go. We're going to have Middle Tennessee the first game, so they ain't going to be too hurt or too beat up. You're going to roll in Tuscaloosa on the night game. And I know that you're worried about it because you backed out and decided you did not want to go to the game because you're supposed to. And you backed out. You called me. No, I can't go.
My daughter has an AU tournament the same weekend.
She put it, look how he put it on his daughter. My daughter got AAU volleyball. I ain't even heard nothing about his daughter playing volleyball or nothing until
she's a hooper. She's a hooper.
Oh yeah, now she's changing sports. She played soccer last week. With everything.
Look at you.
So no, I think it's going to be good. If our wide receivers don't learn how to catch the ball, we're gonna have an issue. And if we can't cover Worthy, which I think we can now, Kool-Aid is a whole lot better.
Y'all got bigger problems than that, though. So, first of all, if I'm hearing you correctly, Alabama's gonna win a close game, right? You're saying that?
Yes, I am saying that.
All right, I think Texas will roll into Alabama this year, and we'll win. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it's gonna be a tough game because Saban's not gonna let anybody blow them out. But I want to see what Bama's secondary can do against our wide receivers, because the fact that we got Xavier Worthy playing the X position. I think the Z position we have A.D. Mitchell, who came from Georgia last year. And then we have Jordan Whittington, he's a 6-year senior. He's a really good blocker. He can catch across the middle, but he's not a major threat. But we got JT Sanders, who's arguably the second best tight end in college football, outside of the guy from Georgia. And then we got Isaiah Nayor, who we picked up. He's from Missouri City, Texas. We picked him up from Wyoming in the transfer portal a year ago, but he tore his ACL, I think it was, during the spring game. I want to see what Bama can do.
JT. This is the part where you almost turn into Stephen A. Smith or whatever. You want to interrupt people and you want to talk or you want to go. It's like, man, what the hell are you talking about?
I was waiting because I think there's
I'm
one
talking
thing.
about me, my anxiousness coming here, listening to him talk about this stuff.
There is one thing that he is missing that is the key to beating Alabama that he did not mention, which is why I think Alabama's going to win.
What is that?
He named a whole bunch of receivers, but he ain't named no running backs.
Yeah.
Oh man, we froze at the very end.
I said you named a whole bunch of receivers, but you didn't name any running backs.
Great question. I mean, a great question. Great statement. So what I will say to you is that we have depth at the running back position. We just don't have proven depth. I'm giving you that 100%. We lost Bijan Robinson and Roshan to the NFL. We got Brooks at running back, who will probably end up being the starter. If you guys remember Jamal Charles back in the day with Texas, he has a very similar running style like Jamal Charles. We have I wouldn't say I can't think of his name right now, but last name Baxter, 4-star running back out of freshman out of Florida. But we don't have proven running backs, right? We don't. We don't. It's a great call out. And I want to see what they look like. Hey, why you yawning though? I want to know who's going to throw the ball for y'all, because I'm telling you.
So here's where I'm going to go is that I don't think we're going to have to. I think this is going to be 2016 Jacob Coker. It's going to be exactly Jacob Coker won a national championship. If you didn't remember that.
Yeah. Your other QB from back.
They go pound the ground the ball.
Yeah, I remember him.
And
I think
Jalen Milroe, and I think I think where the shift is from last year is you had Bijan, which when you have a back like a lot of people call them gravitational talents. All eyes got to go to that guy. So when you have somebody like that, you can't focus resources everywhere, right? So I think if you are, I don't want to say devoid of talent, because I don't think that Texas is devoid of talent. But when you lose a guy like that allows you to free up resources to actually try to handle these receivers. And I think that with Alabama's offense now, Alabama's offense was only successful because of Bryce Young. And I think now with the changes the changes and the growth that have come with this offense, and you add the dimension of Jalen Milroe might actually just pull the ball and take off for 80 one time. You basically put Jahmyr Gibbs at quarterback, I think. And if he can, and I'm not even asking to be good, I'm asking to be average at throwing the ball. Just throw one or two deep balls to say, hey, you can't just pee on us.
Right, to load the box. You can't load the box.
Just hit one. I think that is going to cause. I think it's much like. I think they're really trying to go back to what Georgia was doing last year. It was like Stetson Bennett was not necessarily an all-world passer. He was good, but you need to have the threat that you can make some sort of passes, and he was scary elusive. And then they could run the ball. And I think that is going to be the difference between last year's game and this year's game, where one of us didn't have a running game last year, the other one did, and now I think that flips.
Okay, all right. So, all right, I can agree with that. I hear you. I don't know if I agree with it, but I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you.
Coupled with the fact that we're at home now, and I said it all year last year, Alabama was a terrible road team. They could not figure out how to play on the road. Nowhere. They were not good on the road at all last year. And they might not be good on the road this year, which is why I'm like, if they're gonna win the game, if it was at Texas again this year, I would say it's a definite L. But because they're at home, that already gives me just in my mathematical head, that's a 2-point advantage. We start the game up 2-0 just for the fact that we're at home.
Oh.
And I think that's going to be the difference.
So do you think, George, Bama assured of their secondary? Think they'll be ready? Because they were getting torched last year.
They were.
What I think is going to be, I think we're stronger up front. Kind of not necessarily exactly how JT said it, but I think our front 6 or 7 is going to be better.
Stronger than last year without Will Anderson? That's his name, Will
Do.
Anderson. The D.
I do.
Okay.
Collectively, I think collectively
Okay.
we're going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, Will
better.
Anderson's a big loss, but
Yes.
the inside was the problem last year. And
Yeah.
I think the
There'll be a
the
problem this
tackles
year.
were better.
Look, you
It will
guys
be
got
better.
size.
Kool-Aid is going to be better. Our the corner. I don't know who the other corner is going to be yet.
Probably Terry and Arnold.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hadn't seen enough practice. I haven't watched enough of anything.
And then you picked up
with that.
Jalen Key from UAB, who was one of the top transfers at safety. Caleb Downs, by all accounts, is just Minka Fitzpatrick all over again. I mean, I guess we'll see. He's still a freshman, so you never know.
So,
I just think
Jalen Milroe's going to be the quarterback. You think? You think he's going to start?
so.
Well,
Well,
I got
those two
what
games-
you might not have heard the show last week, but I put $33 and some change on Jalen Milroe being the starting quarterback.
You did.
So
Okay.
yeah, well, it was good odds. It was like plus
Yeah.
300. So I had
Yeah.
like, come on, man, he's gonna start.
I think he starts, but I'm telling you, I think Sark is going to put offensive pressure on Alabama and it's going to force Alabama to pull Jalen Milroe. And plus, you guys got a QB from Notre Dame, right? Transfer QB from
He's
Notre
not.
Dame.
He's not playing. He's not playing.
No.
Tyler
Okay.
Buckner is not playing.
This is the first couple games. I don't think they'll make that kind of quarterback move week 2.
No, I'm not saying he's going to lose his starting job. I'm just saying like the game will be. Let's just say Texas goes up by 10 in the third quarter for some reason, right? It's good. 10 points is a close game. It's a game. Texas goes up by 10. You got to stick with Jalen Milroe with him being 8 of 16.
Yes, because of what he just said earlier. He's an explosive play by himself. He runs for.
So he can run. He can run.
He runs for 80 yards.
Yeah, he can run. Okay.
But I think that what you're going to see. So this is another bold prediction that I would like to see how they're going to use. And I don't know if they'll show too much.
They're not
in the first game, but I think you're not going to see him standing in the pocket like they tried to do him like last year. I think
that's a good point.
He's going to be rolling out. He's going to be sprinting out. He's going to be doing other things where he's got to, cut the field in half and catch it on the run. If you don't see it, take off.
They did kind of treat him like Bryce Young last year.
Can't treat him like
Bryce Young.
right. He's a different quarterback than Bryce Young, and doesn't have the experience. I give you that.
This is
Red is correct.
Here we go.
Red is correct.
I
said Jake Coker, but I just remembered my comparison.
McElroy.
No, Blake Sims.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I follow Alabama football. I always have for years. You know what I mean? I don't have any like disdain or hate for Alabama. George gets on my nerves sometimes, but other than that,
that's because I saw you with the Alabama shirt on underneath it.
So I remember those years when you guys had Coker and Blake Sims, where it's like, God, I'm not sure if Alabama's going to be able to pull it off. But your defense was so stout that all Blake Sims had to do was not lose the game. You right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Except for Blake Sims, because Blake Sims did break a whole lot of records. He broke all the records, and then Tua came in and destroyed all those things.
Did he really?
Yeah. Well, that was Kiffin's year.
Okay.
And Blake Sims basically had shattered everything that year. I mean,
Well,
you had Brady Coyle and like those guys beforehand.
Yeah.
You had all the game managers, and then.
Well, and the game has changed, right? So when Kiffin got there, Alabama had just started to kind of get away from the 3 yards and a cloud of dust and spread the ball out more. So they're throwing the ball 35 times a game compared to, back in the day when you throw the ball 16 times a game, right? You're 12 to 16 for 235 yards. You know what I mean? So I do remember that. Okay. All right.
All right. Well, man, I really do appreciate it.
It was good. This was good.
That was very good. I do hate, we miss David on this. We'll have to get him back, do our own little show or something. And
Oklahoma has bad internet connection. They probably didn't pay their internet bill in Oklahoma. So.
I ain't gonna say anything because I was struggling there for a minute too, and I really don't know what happened that got me back on. I started
I don't
doing
know.
the
Maybe it's just the day because we all had some
was
problems and
well.
all
I
right. It
did
was good.
say what happens when you put Bama, Texas, and OU together. I guess we get a shit show. So there it is. But man, we really do appreciate it, man. You're always fun. You guys need to follow him too. I think his Twitter is Andre
It should be
38
Andre Johnson 357. I don't.
Andre
I, I'm not.
357.
I'm not a big social media guy. I think the only social media that I do have is Twitter, and I actually use it just to follow sports. Man. I don't have social media at all. It's just not my thing. Never has been and never will be. So
Well,
I enjoy social media. I embrace it. I just don't use it like that.
I appreciate his friendships. We need to do that on there because we do get to talk a lot of smack, have a little fun, a lot of jokes between us, even in social media. But he is one of my buddies that gives me great ideas on cigars and different things that I need to try. So I appreciate it for that. And he turned me on to the double oak.
Yes, with a reserve.
Yeah, Woodford Reserve
good.
Double Oak.
Yeah.
So he turned me on to that too. So I'm grateful in that sense. And I have gone to watch some. He did host us down at the Texas game last year when Alabama came. Only regret I have is that I think he was sitting in a suite somewhere, and I was out in the heat, and me and Swallow almost died.
Well, you can for that you can send me some bourbon to fill up my.
Hey,
right.
send me your information. Have your dad give me your information. I'll send you a little token of my appreciation for the invite. So absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
No, we
it.
appreciate it very much. And we do. Just want to say
We'll have to have you back in like 2 weeks then, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, we got to do a recap after the game. So
we can do that, and we appreciate everybody here at the bar for hanging out and listening to us. Ralphie over there got whooped in dominoes once again, man. We got everything going on out here at the
Ralphie on
Lantern.
blast like that? That's not nice.
Because every time I try to play him, he'd be like, nah, you got podcasts. You got podcasts. He didn't want to do something like that. So I'm going to end the show like this, JT. I heard a great joke today. And I think it's a good dad joke. I'm going to say that. I think it has to have it. So, JT, why the chicken cross the road?
Why?
Because he wanted to go see an idiot. Dre, knock, knock.
yeah. Who's there?
The chicken.
Chicken who?
Yeah, that's how we do it on Tuesday. It wasn't my idea, man. I got paid $5 to sucker me a Texas fan.
We're fighting when I see you again.
You muted yourself.
Can't hear you.